Good afternoon, guys. This is LA Garage Projects here with a new TRX4m Bronco and Defender. We have the Defender here in silver and then, or gray. It looks like a Nardo gray, really. And then we have the Bronco here in the blue. We're gonna go ahead and do some tips and tricks on modifications, some user information for the modifications, as well as the light setup with the Pro Scale lights from TRAXXAS. And we'll also get into some servo stuff. So stay tuned. Went ahead and picked these things up this morning. As soon as the hobby shop opened up, had to go grab them. Already had my deposit on these two. But to go along with these rigs, I got these two TRAXXAS kits. So the Pro Scale lights, I don't necessarily like to go with the TRAXXAS parts, in my opinion. That's just me. But a kit like this for $27.99 per kit, obviously, you cannot beat it. And not only that, I went ahead and got an EcoPower servo, $15.99 as you can see there. And I tell you what, in the 24th scale community, they're pretty popular and pretty powerful. First things first, here's a completely stock TRX4m Bronco in the blue. This is for the girlfriend. Got to keep it stock until she gets back in town. But I tell you what, this thing's gonna see a lot of modifications in the next couple weeks. And as you can see this morning, I already got a little bit antsy, and I went ahead and put the Endura China wheels on this guy. They are for the SCX24. I threw them on this because they all run 1-inch wheels. I went ahead and I put the brass rings on inside the wheels to kind of help with some weight down low. But originally, I wanted to use these stock tires. These are the Canyon Trail tires that come on the Defender, but we'll get into the issues of modifying these rigs here in a second. All right, so starting off with the issues with modifying this Defender. So originally I had planned to use the China brass hexes, the hex extensions that you would find for the 24th scale issue. The axle shaft diameter is a bit too big, so all of those upgraded hexes that you can find online, they're not going to fit. They're just too narrow as far as the diameter goes to fit on the axle shaft, which was kind of disheartening, but I kept on going to use these wheels because the wheels do use the same size hex, just a different axle shaft diameter. I wanted to use these stock tires. I don't know if I can get that to focus there. Okay, these are the Canyon Trails. They're honestly, they look pretty good on this truck, and I tell you what, I've used them on 10 scale rigs before, and they're pretty grippy tires. The only issue is that these wheels are made for the SX24, including the thickness of the tires. So the sidewall on these, the lip is pretty thick in comparison to the lip on these 24th scale tires. Therefore, you can't get the rim to close up, or the wheel. You can't get the wheel to close up, which was my first issue, because these little screws in here, they're just not long enough, and it won't compress that tire down enough. And that's why on the stock wheels, it's ribbed, and that sidewall sits in these little ridges on the outside. I tell you what though, going with these boggers instead of these wider Canyon Trails has actually given me more articulation. As you can see here, it's sitting fully up on that 10th scale jack, and then on this rig here, it's on the stock tires. These are the KM3s, but same height. They're a little bit wider than the Canyon Trails, but generally the same height. Anyways, not sitting on top of that jack. There's just a little bit of articulation gained there. I don't know if that's going to be a good or bad thing. We're going to see. We're going to test completely. And then now we'll get into the servo. Okay, so here on the left, we have the Bronco with the KM3s, completely stock. And then we have the new Defender with the boggers, the Enduro wheels with the brass rings, and the EcoPower servo. Haven't tidied up the wiring just yet. We'll get there. But here's a little speed test, I guess, of those servos. That's the EcoPower, and then not too much of a difference in speed, but I tell you what, I believe that this guy is going to be better off on the trail, and I'm going to trust more in this servo than this guy over here. This servo, or a variation of it, was used in all the 16 scales as far as the Slash and the E-Revo and the Summit. And man, those servos, they go out within a few runs. Obviously, they're being used for different things. This will be used in a far slower manner. Hopefully, obviously, if this is a gift for a kid or something of that nature, I mean, it's gonna go out. There's no way around it. I am gonna upgrade this EcoPower to something else like an NSD-RC. I have a couple of their servos and they're fantastic servos. This was just the first thing they had and I wanted to get wrenching. As you can see, these KM3s on the left-hand side for that Bronco, they're pretty wide in comparison to those boggers. But the boggers are the same height, obviously a bit narrower. And I used these tires previously on one of my SEX 24s with rear steer, and the 24 just wasn't heavy enough to actually put the power down with these big knobs here. They're kind of more like paddles on the rocks rather than actually grabbing. Obviously, they're a mud tire, but the compound is pretty soft. So I think with the weight of this Defender, it's actually going to go ahead and be able to use them. And in here you can see that EcoPower servo with the EcoPower servo horn. The tooth count is different from stock to here. The horn for this stock servo is actually pretty nice. I'll go ahead and give you guys a look here. It is plastic, but it's a one setting horn, and it's pretty nice. So I had to go ahead and use this flimsy plastic one, but it's keeping up with the Bronco. Let's get into the lights. So both of these two trucks here have lights in the bumpers, fog lights. They're okay. They're pretty basic when it comes to lighting on a pro scale rig, especially with the hard bodies. Obviously, you got, if you're watching this video, you've seen the reviews on the stock trucks. Hard body needs lights in the buckets for sure. But these will be used as fog lights for now, and we'll go ahead and put that Pro Scale light kit in. So here we have the TRAXXAS Pro Scale light kit, and this is for the Bronco, and I have the other one here for the Defender. It comes with everything you need. It has the daytime lights, which are really cool for this Bronco. I tell you what, that's pretty scale when it comes to scale. Then you have your headlights, your tail lights, your reverse lights, and your hazards. It comes with everything you need. See the light kit there? It even comes with the zip ties, guys. That's great. That is great stuff. And also, you have the lenses here for the tail lights for that Bronco. For the purposes of this video, we're going to go ahead and do the Defender. Because the Defender's mine, I want to allow my girlfriend to go ahead and do her own light kit, so she can get to wrenching on her rig. So it really feels like it's hers, right? So here it shows, it has the same exact stuff here, the daylights, the headlights, tail lights, reverse, and hazard. Obviously, these are a bit dated because it is the Defender, and it comes with a full manual on exactly what to do for this kit. Seems pretty straightforward, and we'll get right into it. All right, guys, so first look at this installation instruction. So it says remove LED headlight retainers. Now those are these parts here. You can see that. It has a spot if you wanted to add your own LED right there. Just a little, the regular clips, and it's held in by one screw, which is something like this. I don't know if you can see that little guy right there. And the same, honestly, for the rear. Just like that. That's the next step here to remove the taillight retainers. But it says clearly, do not remove the lenses for the rear, which are those guys there. All right. So now it says install the left and right headlight assembly. Fairly simple. We have our right side here. So we'll go ahead and go to the right side of the truck and set this in like so. Now, with that being said, before we actually put it in there, let me get this screw back over here. I know it came with more screws, but I don't know if they're necessary. I'm using the stock screws. We're gonna see. It looks like it should all fit together actually, really nicely. It's like I guess you can't really call it countersunk, but I mean, close enough. These little cups here, these little bulges here, fit into these cups on the headlights really, really nicely, actually. So we'll do the same for the driver's side. Again, one screw. I believe it's a 1.5 or a 1, actually. All right. Fairly simple. There we go. And it gives you zip ties, like I said previously, to go ahead and route those wires however you would enjoy. They have a specific way here, I believe, how to route them. Yeah, I mean, it just says pretty much to zip tie it at this end and zip tie it at this end. It seems pretty simple. Now for the taillights. Okay, like I was saying earlier, it says route both LED taillights under the rear cross brace. Like I was saying, they want you to do it a certain way. Obviously, that is the definite right way to go. Same screws for the rear, but they just bolt to the, they just screw to the outside. So let's go ahead and get this started. Okay, so I went ahead and placed that tail light in there as it says in the directions. And then just go ahead and start threading it in. Boom. Hand tightened again, guys. You don't have to go crazy on it. It should never move. And we'll do the same for the driver's side. So make sure that's in there correctly. It is. Let's get the screw going. Okay. We got to make sure that tail light sits in there nicely before we mess something up. Not really much you can mess up here, but gonna pull it back out now. So I can set that thing down so I can use two hands for this. Okay. The tail light sits right there. There's a little knob in there that's like a setting, and it just kind of sets down on it. Okay. There we go. Caught some plastic in there. Okay, now for the last step, obviously this will be routed. I find it quite interesting. I would have routed them a different way if I were TRAXXAS. I would have kept this in the rear and actually just made the lead a bit shorter, as the ESC, it sits in the back, right? So it plugs in right there. Pretty honestly, they make it so simple. Lights, plug in and play. That's it. But what I was saying was this lead should have come from the back here. I don't know if it has to do with whatever sequence that they use or something of that nature. But again, just my little 2 cents. Not that you asked for it, but here we are. All right, so now let's go ahead and get this stuff zip tied down. I believe I have it under the pamphlet. Yes, I do. I am going to go ahead and zip tie it like so, right down the middle. I shouldn't have any fitment issues whatsoever. There's not a lot of stuff on this truck, guys. It's all really, really, really low in comparison to like the SCX24. You know, oh, no way. Well, that was the wrong call, 100%. So what we're gonna do is go ahead and snip it. Man, when I really think that TRAXXAS didn't think of one thing or another, they certainly did. I need to read the pamphlet a little bit better, I guess. So, now that we're back here, there is an actually really nice little loophole in this windshield that you can use to zip tie to. Thank God I have some other small zip ties laying around. Went ahead and picked this one up from the drawer. Now, go ahead and snug that down just enough, just in case I ever want to take them out, you know, exchange them. for, you know, let's say one of these breaks, whatever. You want to be able to get your little snippers in there next time. Be careful cutting, obviously. Don't want to cut that wire unless you know how to solder and want to solder very small wires. So if they did it for the front, they must have done it for the back, right? Let's see. Zip tie here. Oh, right there. There's a little loop right here, guys. I don't know if you can see that. Get up nice, close and personal with you. There we go. I'm gonna zip tie right to that. Okay, now a black zip tie. I guess we're gonna mismatch. That's all right. No one should see in here anyways. Can't wait for someone to come out with an interior for this thing. And if not an interior to come out, I'll go ahead and 3D print one. We do a lot of 3D printing over here, guys. So we'll be seeing a lot of our own scale parts. Let's see if we can't get that a little bit tighter. It's about as tight as it's gonna get. It's about as tight as I want it, honestly. Not a big deal. Alrighty, let's check this thing out. Boom, and there we go, guys. Here's a little depiction of those headlights. You can't really tell all that well. I mean, they're semi-bright. Here's my garage door here. Headlights, no headlights. And then there's actually your tail lights there. Let's go ahead and flip this light on and give you guys a better view of these things. Okay, so here we have daylight, headlight, fog light, and then for the rear, let's see if we can get this thing a little, boom, there we go. And let's see here if we can give you those reverse lights. There they go. Beautiful. They're only doing that because I'm not too hard on the throttle here. And we'll figure out how to activate those hazard lights. I don't know. Let me go ahead and remove this jack here and see if when we go into reverse, if it gives us a hazard. Doesn't seem to. We'll figure that out here in a second, guys. All right, it ended up being super simple on how to operate these lights. I stopped reading, I got excited. That's just how it goes, especially in this garage. So now, 5 separate modes, actions to complete, to get to those modes, and what they do, okay? So what I want is headlights on, daylights, don't really care for them all that much. I want the reverse lights to work, I want the tail lights on, and I want hazards as well. So hazard lights on, headlights, daytime running lights, tail lights off, brake lights are on when braking, and reverse lights are on when reversing. So I'm gonna go ahead and reset this thing. So it says to unplug to reset to default. Boom, okay, plugged in. Now, it says to get to mode 4, we gotta hit this 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now let's chuck the body on. What do we have? Hazards are on. Headlights, daytime running lights. Okay, so I did press it 3 times, like I said to do, as you can see right there. But I don't see any daytime lights. I see tail lights on. Do we have reverse? We have reverse. Great. And it looks like those daylights, oh no, the fog lights are on. Huh. I figured maybe when I drove forward it would do it. Okay, well guys, I mean, we have lights, which is fantastic, especially for such a little truck like this, and to have a kit. I mean, it doesn't get better than that, especially with the hazards too. The hazards really put it on for me personally. I've only seen this kind of kit on either the super scale 18th and 12th scale trucks, you know, the FMS for instance. But for TRAXXAS to come out with this, I mean, that's pretty wild. So just a quick overview to end the video here. That Pro Scale light kit is rad. I tell you what, that is definitely cool. If you want to see the install light kit for this Bronco, Go ahead and put it down in the comments if you'd enjoy. And then the overview on the modification side of things. These wheels are meant for these tires, specifically the TRAXXAS tires. So TRAXXAS came out with the KM3s, the Canyon Trails, and some Mickey Thompsons, I believe. As you can see, that ridge is pretty wide. Get it to focus here for you guys. Pretty wide, and it's to hold the bead of this tire. This bead is pretty thick. I mean, I can't really show you on camera that well, but I want, like I said, I wanted to upgrade to the aluminum wheels with the brass inserts, and those tires they don't fit at all whatsoever. It ain't gonna work. So SCX24 tires for me. That's the way I'm gonna go for this one, and we'll see where it takes us from here. Thanks for joining LA Garage Projects for this one, guys. See you later.